Marvin Devine. I'm saying bye to all the lies and all the times you cried, saying that I wasn't right, yet I was right by your side. You manipulator, playing games, your friends commentators, and I don't know what you say about our private conversations, but it's got them hating. Thanks to all the rumors you be claiming. It's cool, I'm done with you, so they can throw you a celebration. You gon' hate it when you see me with somebody living better. I'm trying to tell you that me just doing me gon' have you jealous.
Hey folks, welcome back to the program. Sorry about that, looking off the side there. I was just reading the chat that people put out there. Welcome back. It's another one of those refugee interviews with refugees from South Africa who've resettled firmly here in the States now at this point. My guests today are Jurgens and Simone, who, wow, have an amazing flag hanging on the wall behind them. And a few minutes ago, Simone's shoulder was out of the picture. Now Jurgens is. I think they're afraid of each other, like they've got, malaria or something. There you go. Okay. There you go. Okay. We don't want your shoulder cut off. So the two of them are joining us today. Here's something, I guess this turns Ronald Lamola and, also, Shirwan Posa into experts, because apparently they might be amongst a few people actually in an occupation that they claim is coming over here. But anyway, let's go ahead and get to it. Welcome to the program, guys. How you doing?
Good yourself.
No.
Well, I've been a little better. I'm a little under the weather here, but I'll survive. I get paid the same, nothing, whether I'm feeling good or not. So anyway, whereabouts in South Africa you guys from, Jurgens?
Basically Northwest and Pretoria.
Oh, okay. Well, that's my stomping grounds. I know the area very well.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. Fantastic. Yeah. No, I love going up there. I love going to Holliesburg, zip lining, quad bike riding, all that stuff. It's pretty cool. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So I used to go to Waterfalls Mall quite a bit in Rustenburg. That McDonald's served as a place where I pick up 30 hamburgers and about 5 boxes of 20-piece McNuggets, stick them in my cooler, put them in my freezer back in Botswana, so I'd have McDonald's for the next month. Desperate times call for desperate measures. That was before we got before we got a Roman's Pizza in Habaroni. Now there's a Roman's Pizza, so I don't need McDonald's. So I understand, Jurgens, you and Simone have actually watched my program since before the refugee thing.
Yeah, no, I've been following you ever since COVID. I think just before COVID, I picked you up.
Well, it would have been around COVID, because that's when I was.
It's around about that. It's around about that time. But I've liked your honesty, reporting accurately, actually doing some homework before you open up your mouth. It's not just word vomiting, and that's what I appreciate. And that's the kind of person I am myself as well.
Well, that's what I was going to say. For people need to get ready for some truth bombs in this conversation, because we're going to explode some myths and also give people some warnings, things I've warned about. But you'll be able to give the warning from a standpoint of having gone through it yourself, and people find out exactly my concerns or concerns you need to be worried about, specifically about biological children. We're going to talk about that in just a little bit here. But Simone, you're here. When did you first hear about the program?
Like in February, when it basically opened, when you reported on it.
We watched you live.
Yeah.
You mean on February 7th? Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's one of the 38,000, two of the 38,000 that tuned in that night. That's pretty cool. It's kind of like a reunion here, old home week.
We're the OGs.
Well, you guys would be if you've been watching since. But that's the thing. People never chat, but they're here. The numbers at YouTube lie. I mean, there's no way that I travel in all over South Africa, in every province, and out of the blue, people come up to me and recognize me with the numbers that YouTube presents. It's just a fantasy. Yeah. Either I know everybody in South Africa or they're lying, and I think they're lying, because I don't know 63 million people. Trust me, I don't know that many people. Yeah. So okay, let me go on a little bit here from there. Simone, this program, did you in your wildest dreams ever think something like this would be available to you?
No, not at all. Like, we are so blessed to be here, and we are definitely not some of these entitled South Africans, and they upset me so much with their nonsense complaining and all of that. I mean, it's like winning the lottery. Do you have any idea how lucky you are to have been given this opportunity? I mean, I actually feel guilty, because I know how many people there are stuck in camps, like waiting for years to come over here, and we're just so lucky we waited here.
Well, quick question for you there, Simone. I mean, did you get your Bentley and your 7-bedroom house on the Texas ranch? Is that what you got when you arrived?
Not yet. We'll get there. I'm going to have to cut a lot of hair, but we'll get there.
No one's going to give it to you. It's possible, but no one's going to give it to you.
We'll win the lotto.
Cut a lot of hair. So are you in the beauty industry?
Yes, I'm a hairstylist. I've been a hairstylist for 24 years now, so I still love it. It's my passion. So I do have to convert my license, my cosmetology license. That takes about 4 to 6 months. Every state is different. Every state you need a different license, so you have to do everything over again. So unfortunately, I can't do hair before I have that license. So I'm probably, I don't know if you know okay, I don't know if I'm allowed to say it, but like Ulta brands and stuff like that. It's a retail company with hair products and makeup and all these things. And they have a salon in the middle of the shop, basically. So what I want to try and do is work in the retail area until I get my license to actually become a hairstylist there. So yeah, that's something for the hairstylist. It's not as easy as you just come here and you do hair. There's a process you can get fined.
Well, that's one of the things I talked about. You do have to be licensed for that. And as I caution people are like, well, what about this in the States? I said, well, I can't answer that question in the States because every state is sovereign. They all have their rules. Now, the laws are similar. Oftentimes, they may be even identical from one state to the next, but they can have their own quirks in the law. So you've got to, it's like a lawyer. Just because you passed the bar in Pennsylvania doesn't mean you can practice law in Maryland, which is right next door. I mean, you could live on the state boundary 1 mile away. At one point, hey, how's it going there?
Hello.
Are we getting video bombed?
Little Nicklin.
So you can live 1 kilometer from the state boundary, and you can't practice law on the other side because you have to pass the bar and be accepted there as well. It's just the nature of things. I don't think people really understand that this is a nation of 50 sovereign states because the way things are presented internationally. But now that doesn't mean you need a passport to go from Maryland to Pennsylvania or from Florida to Georgia. But just so that. So I've got a quick question for you. There's some money. What will you charge me for a haircut? Have you figured that part out yet?
No, not yet, but it's not going to be as cheap as an SA, that I can tell you. And you're going to have to give a nice big tip. So we don't get taxed on tips anymore. So, I'm just good.
That's going to be a boon for you when you get back into that because tips are a big part of that business. And now you're not taxed on tips. Wow.
We're not used to that in SA. So.
Well, we're not used to that in America. It took Trump to bring that in, such an easy thing to think of. Basically back before the 1980s, tips essentially weren't taxed because you didn't have to report them. They just never put in the tax code. Then the greedy government started making people pay. And then as a consequence, employers paid their workers much less because they said, well, you're getting tips and you got to report it now. Yeah. So no, that's, I asked because when I started getting haircuts, my first haircut was $1. $1. That was a basic training. Well, that's the first one I paid for. My stepfather made me get my hair cut when I was a kid, but I used to have it down to my shoulders. But I hated that. I almost cried. But no. So I got a haircut for $1 in the Army, and then when I moved here to Pennsylvania 10 years ago, I was getting haircuts for $11, and then my barber I switched to in this town. I was getting initially for $12. Active duty gets a discount, which is ironic because my salary dropped by 45% by retiring from the Army. So I have less money, but I pay a higher rate. And now because of COVID and the cost going up for her business, it's $22 for a haircut. It's crazy. Just in 10 years, it's nearly doubled. Yeah. Nearly doubled. Okay, so I'm just curious about that. Okay, cool beans. So do you think you'll be able to, you're going to go work for someone else, or will you have the resources to start your own? Because it's not exactly a cost-free thing. You got to have a little bit of capital.
Yeah, no, you do. We came over with very little. I have an awesome family that helped us so much. So I need to buy a kit, obviously, because my hairdryer, my flat iron, my curling iron, nothing works here. So I have to buy all of that new. But yeah, I would like to start my own business, but only in like 5 to 10 years. Definitely not now, because I don't know the areas. I don't know the needs. I don't know any of that. So definitely not now, no.
It's a very sound approach. You realize that you've got to get familiar with what's going on, or who's who in the zoo, so to speak, so you know what's going on. Jurgens, let's shift our attention a little bit there. You guys arrived on what date?
We arrived in the U.S. on the 26th of January.
Okay, so you've been here about 6 weeks now. How are things going so far? Have you got yourself a Social Security card or appointment yet?
We got it yesterday. Yeah, so we got it yesterday. We are on the longer side of things over here, but I have to say that we were placed, area we are in, and the agency that we are with, they do things transparent and by the books. They do it by the new laws on the outset. They are transparent about everything. Everything has been opened up in front of you. They don't just talk. They put the paperwork in front of you so that you can understand exactly what's happening and what you are getting yourself in for. which we appreciate. And that's why we can talk about it. We can tell people that, listen, when you come here, this is how it's going to work. Don't contact me. Listen, I got my tickets. I'm going to Idaho. How's it going to work? Idaho is a different state. It's not going to be the same. But there is an outset on the new immigration laws of the USRA program that it's basically the same. And I want to encourage people, when you get over here, have a conversation with your caseworker. Ask your caseworker, listen, and do your homework before you leave South Africa. Do your homework. It's easy. It's online. Do what I've done. I've done it. Then ask your caseworker to say, listen, this is what the law states, but now you're telling me this. What's going to happen in the future? Because we had that conversation, and let me tell you something, with the SNAP and the EBT and all those things that's supposed to be stopped, people must be very careful what happens in the future.
Yeah, that's a good point. The Big Beautiful Bill did remove food stamps from an entitlement, but oddly, some people are still getting them. I still scratch my head how that's happening. I think it's because in some states, the states match the food stamp money so that people get more money. I think that's what's happening, but I don't know for sure. But basically, you're not going to get food stamps unless you're an American citizen or a permanent resident. And you guys aren't permanent residents yet. You have to apply for that after a year. So that doesn't mean that people couldn't get it. But hopefully after a year, people are established and working. They don't need food stamps. We would hope they get to that stage.
Yeah.
All right. So it sounds like you're doing pretty well with your caseworker. You're happy with the services they're providing. Can you tell us the agency? Is it a national agency or just a local one?
No, it's a local one. It's Lutheran Social Services.
Okay. Well, that's part of a larger nationwide network. Okay.
But they are, let me tell you something, they're amazing. They've been going above and beyond. Actually, just an hour and a half before the show started, I got a call from USRA in Washington, D.C., and I did a short survey on it, and they actually ask you these questions just to make the program better. What can they do? And the biggest thing at this stage that's really impacting things on this side is short staffing. We have the issue here with our agency is that we've got one caseworker to do everyone that is over here, and it's catching up to them. It proves to be difficult. So that in itself, that's an issue. Other than that, they really go above and beyond. Definitely.
So there's a couple things here I want people to understand, the audience, if you're listening, and then Jurgens and Simone can attest to this now. Number one is the pause actually has already had an effect. We, for the first time now, have refugees who've come to America who are being contacted by RSC or Church World Services or the USCIS, whoever's contacting them from DC. And I know this because someone asked me if the number yesterday was valid, and I confirmed that it was a valid number from Department of Health and Human Services, asking them about their experiences because they want to improve the program. That is light years from where we were just a month ago before the pause in the program. Now, that's not the only substantive change you'll see, but that is clearly a substantive change. Nobody got asked, nobody cared before, nobody paid attention to what was happening once you arrived in the States before. And I've been howling and screaming at the U.S. government for the past 6 months, telling them they need to get off their ass and pay attention. You've got an oversight responsibility. So I'm encouraged by the fact that you were contacted by them. That's number one. And the second thing there was that I have been saying this from the very beginning, whether it was RSC working on getting people processed in South Africa or it's this side, there is a shortage of staff. People have to understand that these organizations were making $8.9 billion a year. Trump cut that money off. They don't sit around with, Fort Knox loads of gold sitting around they could sell off in desperate times. They live from year to year off of donations, and most of the donations come from the taxpayer. Church World Service, $229 million in 2024, the most recent financial year. $189 million came out of my pocket and other taxpayers' pockets. So when that money was cut off, they had to let people go. And they let a lot of people go. And then they find themselves starting again with, because you got to remember that Trump stopped us in January. The first refugees after that came were on the 12th of May. So that's January, February, March, April, 4 months later. And they can't keep people on salary, so they let a lot of these people go. Some of those who stayed in some of the organizations have got an attitude because, they're kind of upset that all their friends are gone and they're not getting as many refugees. So you have to understand that staffing shortages and finding a place to place you in the United States are major reasons for the slow pace of this starting up for the past several months. But I think that now they may have figured this out a little bit better and we might be in better shape. Does that sound right to you guys?
Yeah.
That's absolutely correct. It's on point.
Somebody said to me, Church World Service also now responding to emails much sooner within a week. Well, they must have dedicated staff to do that, which they didn't have before. And I've told people that for the past year, stop writing to them because they're not answering emails.
I had the phone conversation earlier, and I can confirm it was told to me by USRAP as well.
Yeah, told what, that they're answering mails now, or?
No, they told us that there has been allocated more resources towards the South African side.
Yeah, there you go. So that's exactly what I said. So with that, the fact that they put up a temporary modular village to process people raises questions about how many are coming over. I did the numbers run last night there, Jurgens, and it's 3,490 of you guys. Well, of course, you guys watch all my videos. I should have realized that. But 3,490 South Africans come over to date. And a lot of people are like, wow, that's a lot. A lot of people are like, wow, that's not many. Well, given the circumstances that the country finds itself in, I think it's pretty amazing to start this program and in less than a year have 3,500 people. What do you think, Simone? Do you think that's a pretty good start, or we got some work to do?
Well, obviously, if we don't, if President Trump allows the cap to be higher, that'll be awesome. Because I mean, it's kind of hard only bringing over 7,500 people because there's so many that want to come over. So, like you said, a lot of people are being processed. And it's not necessarily that they're all going to fly over soon. So, I mean, that we'll have to wait and see. But
well, are you sure about that? I've been assured by right-wing South Africans and by the political leftists that nobody's interested in this program. Just toothless, oakless, uneducated Boers will come over. That's what I. By the way, you guys seem to have your.
Just before
you seem to have your teeth. Are those artificial? Are those fake teeth? I'm just asking.
Yeah, and not just that. Is that we actually had our first 45 cars. We are car guards. It's a Publix store. So we had that, and then our FEMA tent has got the air conditioning control right here.
Yeah.
So
too bad.
You know what, Colonel Chris, there is so much shit being talked that sometimes it's just you can sit back and you can start laughing, but it's so difficult to start laughing because you realize that the IQ level cannot exceed shoe sizes. It's really how people can allow themselves to listen to this in the first place, because you have the people that's going to spew these nonsense anyway. They're going to do it. But stop listening to these people. Stop lending out your ears to say, but this is how no one knows. You will not know how it is when you are back in South Africa. I am here with my family. I can just tell you, put on your big boy pants. It's not easy. You are coming over here as a baby. You will crawl. It's not easy. You're not on a free ride to come here and get free money from the government, from the taxpayers. You've been given this opportunity to come here to work, to earn your living.
To contribute.
You need to contribute to society. You're not going to come here, and this is about the business. I just want to, I know you spoke briefly with Simone on the business. Do not expect to come here and open up a business in 3 to 6 months.
Yeah.
That's not realistic.
Yeah.
Be realistic. There's a couple of things you need to learn this side. You need to adapt to the culture differences. There's a lot of liability. Being a business owner in the United States puts a whole lot of liability on your shoulders. Learn those things. First, find your feet. Check your market. Learn the people. Learn the market. Then you can move towards with these ideas of starting up your business. I'd say give it a year if you can, even longer. Yeah. Just find your feet first. You understand?
I understand. And what you're saying there is something that I've tried to make a point to people. Like, well, I can start a business. I'm going to do this. You don't understand the regulatory environment. You don't understand the environmental. Mm-hmm. You don't understand the laws. You have to. That's why I haven't started a business. I mean, I'm just an independent contractor because there's so much tied to this. You have to have liability insurance. You have to have business insurance. You have to have, and if you hire people, you have to pay for unemployment insurance and disability insurance. And it's just one thing after another. That's one reason why things are expensive. You've got all these overhead costs that you don't have in South Africa. You can pay people 25 Rand an hour to work. You can't pay anybody 25 Rand an hour to work in America. It just doesn't work. And you don't have to worry. And if you've got a regulatory problem in South Africa, cops show up, a couple hundred Rand, couple thousand Rand, problem goes away. It don't work that way here. Sorry. I mean, I'm not speaking that term. That's the way things are. It's really it's just the way things are. So let me talk about something that we were discussing just before this, and that was that. You guys, well, actually, I lost it there. Sorry, I'll get back to that in a moment. I want to get on that point, but all right. So, Jurgens, how's the family doing so far? Are the kids in school? Are you still waiting for the end of the year? What's going on with that?
Okay, so no, the family is good, but yeah, here in order for our children to get into the school, we had to go for the vaccine. So we received our vaccines. We already had 2 medicals at DOH. We received our vaccinations about a week ago. So my daughter basically starts school on Monday. We're just busy trying to sort out the bus. The system is down. And then, yeah, we have an issue with Nicklin. Nicklin is 2 months. His birthday falls out 2 months, so he can't go to school. He needs to go to daycare until the new school year. But yeah, other than that, it's good. And I think the point that you wanted to come on was the DHA forms when you leave South Africa to the Customs and Border, when you have principal parents.
That's another topic. Wasn't I want to get to that a little bit later on. We get to now. Simone, what did you want to say?
Oh no, I just want to say even in cultural orientation, they tell you that daycare there's no assistance on that. You have to pay everything, and that's really expensive. So now we found out, okay, you get, while you're not working, they can go half day for free. When you start working, then they apply, then they can go the whole day for free. So a lot of people think that you're going to have to pay for that, and I just want to say you're not going to have to pay for that. You do get that assistance. It might differ from state to state, obviously. Sometimes you may only get like half the assistance in that, but I wanted to just reassure moms that don't worry, it'll be fine.
Yeah. Yeah, no, there's processes out there in every state for this. Some are more generous than other states, and also it depends on location. I mean, if you get help for daycare in New York City, it's probably not going to cover the cost of daycare. But if you get it in Macon, Georgia, the odds are it might help cover the cost of it. But I want to go back. We'll go back to this other story in a moment about the kids. But I want to talk about something you brought up a few moments ago, Jurgens, and that's about misinformation, disinformation. The really sad part about this, and the really sad part about the shadow banning of honest people like myself who are telling the truth about this program with no dog in the fight, is that there's a lot of people that just simply don't know. And so they dismiss this because they have a bigotry towards either Trump, or they just assume, or they've got, maybe they're older and they still blame Henry Kissinger for, the SADF not capturing Rwanda, which was the SADF's fault, not Henry Kissinger's, but that's another story. So you get these people that just have this thing fixed in their head. And look, I'm not encouraging anybody to come to America, but they're going to regret their decision to not look at this program as people come over here and they flourish. It's unfortunate that so many people lie about this program. And what I want to say is that we were talking earlier, and what I find frustrating is that people who know nothing about America's political system will run around and spread on social media, Facebook and WhatsApp groups, and they'll tell their neighbors that, well, when a Democrat comes in office, that'll just be the end of the program. Well, even if it's the end of the program, that's a whole other story. How many people get here before the program ends? But they'll send you back. They won't send you back. I mean, Trump is angry about 230,000 refugees that Biden let in, most of whom weren't vetted properly. Not a single one of them has been kicked out of the country because they have to legally go through a vetting process. And if they commit a fraud, then they'll be sent home. And that's what I said from the beginning. As long as you don't commit fraud and you're honest, you're not going anywhere. The only other reason you go back is you commit a serious crime. They decide to get rid of you. Usually just put you in prison, though. And the third reason is the underlying conditions that granted you refugee status are improved. Does anybody in the right mind think the ANC is going to just get rid of 145 race-based laws in the next 3 years? I don't.
Exactly.
No.
Exactly.
So there you go. All right, so we want to talk a little bit about kids. So one of the things I talked about from the very beginning, we had a lot of people moaning and belly aching. You may remember last year, February, March, even in April, but I don't have money for passport. Oh, look, now I'm going to lose some people because the Colonel's being mean again. Yeah, I don't have money for passport. I'm like, okay, have you sold anything? No. Have you stood on a street corner in Pretoria and begged for money? No. Well, then I guess you're not serious about getting out. It's not that serious. Anyway, I don't mean to be heartless, but we had a lot of that belly aching about passports last year. In fact, Chris Ehlers paid for about a half a dozen people's passports last year. He's still in South Africa. I mean, he must be frustrated because he wants to come over. But so one of the things I caution people about is that they're like, why do I need a passport? Because Home Affairs won't let you leave South Africa. It has nothing to do with coming to America. We can accept refugees in America with international travel documents from the UN or ones that we generate to let you in, because we know that people flee from Somalia. It's not like they have passports. Most of them never even had an ID card. They have no birth certificates, nothing. So we let people in. But the problem is that this is in-country refugee status. You didn't flee to Namibia or
Yes.
Botswana. So
Exactly.
Yes.
the people that control your departure are not the Americans. It's the South African
Yes.
authorities. And therefore, you must
Correct.
have your ducks in a row with the South African authorities. And we all know that ever since they passed this idiotic law, which is supposedly meant to stop child trafficking, all it's done is made it miserable for people with minor children going into or coming out of South Africa. You have to have birth certificates, the original. And so it's a nightmare. So you have to have this sorted out. So we're going to talk a little bit about that now, is that you guys both have children. Each of you are the natural parents, and they have another parent that you share. So tell us a little bit about that story, Jurgens, and what's going on with that when you left the country.
Okay, so when you're in the process, in order for you to leave with your child, with your biological child, and the other biological child won't accompany the child, you need a DHA form. And that form, it needs to be filled in by both parents. It's in order for you to leave the country and unoccupied with the other biological parent. Together with that, it's simple. It's just that document that needs to be filled in and signed, and then with a affidavit. Attached onto that form is also your the accompanying parent's passport, ID document, birth certificate. If there's any court orders, the court order can go on there. We didn't have any. We didn't need it. And that is basically it. It can be a police affidavit. It can be a notarized one from an attorney. It doesn't matter. But the issue we had, and this is what I want to get across to the people. When you leave, when you know you leave, please make sure that those documents aren't stamped beyond the date of 3 months. We had an issue. We nearly did not make it through. And we had 1 day lapsed on that date that it was stamped. So make sure to keep it. I know there's a lot of things that's basically 6 months, but yeah, you're going to have these people.
Yeah.
They try to get money out of us, and I don't pay Chocho money. I'm sorry. Then I would rather just not go. It will fall on them in any case. But yeah, just keep your documents. Make sure that your documents are within the time frame of 3 months.
3 months. They say 6, but it's 3.
Yeah.
And you get an attitude.
Yeah, well, I'm sure you get an attitude. That's a given. I mean, I don't know if you guys know what happened to me a couple of years ago in 2023. I arrived and I came in through, was it Cape Town? No, it was OR Tambo for that one trip. Anyway, I arrived there and I went in and the guy wrote down the date that my 90-day visa expired. Well, I couldn't read it. It looked like it said March. I came in January. I'm like, okay, that's fine. I didn't pay attention to it. He actually wrote down 9 days after I arrived, even though I told him that he asked me where I'm going, what I'm doing here. I said, I'm here for a month. I'll be heading back in February, at the end of February. And so I thought he wrote 6 March, and he actually wrote just a few days later in January. I couldn't read his handwriting. So when I left after being in the country for about 2 weeks, I was trying to go to Botswana. I drove up to the border from Pretoria at Tlokweng, at the Kopfontein crossing. And the lady said, I can't let you leave the country. I said, why is that, man? Well, if you do, I'll have to declare you undesirable. You'll be banned from coming to South Africa for 5 years. I'm like, what? She goes, yeah, you've overstayed your visa. I'm like, how's that possible? I just arrived 2 weeks ago. She goes, no, you're supposed to leave on this date, 9 February, 6 February. I'm like, what? That doesn't make sense. So what a mess that was. I wound up costing me about 8,000 Rand, which actually is cheap when you consider but I had to drive like a banshee from the border crossing as the sun was going down to get back to, so I don't get, murdered on the N4 there, driving from Rustenburg, because, they throw bricks out there to kill people.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then drive, and I got back to Pretoria East. And I didn't have a hotel. I didn't know anything. And the Wyatt Army came to my rescue. A South African who's married to an American who's trying to sort out his visa for South Africa knew some lady that used to work in Home Affairs. I got in touch with her. She called me at midnight on a Friday night or whatever it was. It was amazing. And then we started sorting this through. And by Monday or Tuesday, we had it all sorted. But it cost me a lot of time and energy. And I did nothing wrong. And I had the resources. I had my own resources, but I also had the resources of the Wyatt Army who responded. And it's just, these people can be very surly and difficult, And in fact, when we went to OR Tambo to get my passport straightened out, the officials did it, but you could see they're like, I think the only reason they did it is because she knew the big boss. The big boss told them to do it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
No, true. No. We lived through it. We lived through it. Just on a short one, on that same info between Marikana and Brits, we had a close friend of ours, not close to me, but there was, a church, especially with my father. He got spiked over there. He got shot, killed right in front of his family.
Yeah, I remember that incident. That's what I'm talking about specifically. They murdered him right in front of his family, wife and small child, if I recall correctly. It's just horrific stuff. Yeah, no, it's and you know, that used to be not a problem. I've driven that route literally hundreds of times. I lived in Hamburoni, so I'm constantly driving that route. Was never a problem, but this has been a problem that's cropped up in the last 3 or 4 years. Really sad to see. So, Simone, you're here. What's it like? I mean, you guys look pretty happy. You got that Stars and Stripes hanging on the wall behind you. You must be.
Yeah.
I mean, you kind of look like you got a coat hanger in your mouth there.
Yeah, no, I love it. We love it. My son just always wanted to know, wanneer gaan ons Amerika toe? So it's very cute. But yeah, we're all happy here. And I don't know, the thing is, our mindset was just from the beginning, we knew it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be all sunshine and roses. We are very realistic people. So we knew well, you can't completely know what you're getting yourself into, but, you know, we had an idea. It's not going to be easy because Jurgens has traveled quite a bit. I worked in London 20 years ago. So, you know, I kind of knew it's going to be a bit depressing at one stage. Obviously, you're going to go ups and downs. We are just very lucky we didn't start on a down. We started on an up, so the down will still come. Obviously, it will. I love my family and I had to leave my family. So that really sucks. But they understand. They're so supportive. So that's the thing. With that support, you're even more positive. So, yeah, I think it's scary. We're not unrealistic. It is scary up in here. But it's like, we're ready for it. We're ready for it.
Well, you mentioned something there, Simone, that I think is very important. From the outset, I told people this program would divide families. And also I advise some people, depending on the relations to your family, it's something you might want to keep to yourself. But it sounds like you were able to share this with the rest of your family. I assume the parents, maybe on both sides, did they knew about this? Okay.
Jurgens' family or mom and dad are actually still coming. They only got their phone calls Tuesday. Last week.
Tuesday. This past Tuesday they were phoned. So they're basically in the program now. So they phoned me this morning. They received everything to go for the fingerprints on Monday. So the things are moving for them.
Well, awesome. Is their case linked to yours? So the chance they'll wind up in the same area?
They are going to link it over to us. They're going to put us as a US tie. So we'll see how quickly it comes through, but I think it will be quickly. It looks like things are moving at a more rapid pace now.
Oh, indeed they are. And in fact, the people actually following up to see what's going on with people is a bit of a surprise, a nice surprise. Simone, what about your side of the family? Were you able to tell parents and family?
Yeah, they were, like I said, they were very supportive. No one's really going to come over. I do have 2 more boys. It's still, I don't want to cry, but it's still very depressing. I had to leave them there with the hopes that their father will eventually let them come over. Like my middle child is very much a mama's boy. So the deal is if they want to come over, they can come over. That's the deal. So it's a very, very difficult situation. But the rest of my family, they're not interested in coming. But hopefully they'll come and visit. So hoping for that when we settle and we get a house and whatever.
Well, that is definitely a little challenging thing. I solved that problem by having 16 wives in 13 countries. That way I just have to travel all the time to keep them all happy. So it just works out pretty well. Yeah, but seriously, that has to be challenging. Am I correct? Maybe a shout out. Isn't somebody's birthday, or did I get that wrong? Somebody's birthday?
Oh, my oldest son, he's turning 14 today, and my middle one is turning 12 on the 19th.
Well, happy birthday to both of them. Let's see if I can't get the birthday cake up here. I'm going to look for this very quickly. I've got it here somewhere. But that's pretty awesome it's birthdays are a big deal, I suppose, for a lot of folks. Some people just kind of blow it off, but it's kind of a big deal. Okay, I'm almost there. I got the birthday cake. Yeah. There we go. And it's on the screen, and it covered me up. So it covered my face. Actually, probably looks better with the birthday cake there. But happy birthday to, are we able to say the name? Is that allowed or no?
Yeah. Liam, and then Logan's birthday is the 19th.
Okay, well, happy birthday to Liam, and then Logan in advance. If you a happy birthday there, fantastic. So yeah, that had to be a little bit difficult, no doubt. What's been the 6 weeks is kind of early, but it's more time than my most recent interviewees. They've been here like 3 weeks and 2 weeks and a week in one case.
Yeah.
But 6 weeks, you probably got a feel for things already. I mean, the good news for you is you're down in Sunshine State, so winter is a joke. It's kind of like winter in the Western Cape. It's not really that serious. Whereas if you're up here, you'd be buried under the snow. But what's been Jurgens? What's been the biggest challenge since you come? Is there been something that's been you had to focus on or you got to worry about?
You know what? I get that asked a lot, and there's just one answer I can give you. I worked so hard on my mindset back in South Africa. I'm here, and there's nothing I miss. There's nothing that, well, obviously my family and all these things, but being in South Africa, there's nothing that I miss. There's nothing, because I worked I worked myself up, and what I've done is I've suppressed my expectations. I even said in the cultural orientation. So when you have a cultural orientation, everybody has a chance to speak, and what they're gonna do when they are finished with the honeymoon phase, as they know it over here. And I always said, listen, I'm gonna play devil's advocate, because I'm not leaving South Africa because I want to. I'm leaving South Africa because I have to. I have nothing here. I do not want to leave South Africa, and I didn't want to come, to be quite honest. And so yeah, that's how I took it. And so I worked myself up, and this is what I just want to give over to the people that's in South Africa, but still coming over. Rather expect the worst. And when you come here and it's not that bad, you'll be okay.
Right.
Don't expect a holiday. Don't expect moonshine and roses. It's going to be difficult. You're going to go through things. There's people over here that phone me, like yesterday. I had someone phone me. There's a refugee also close to us. It's an old lady. She phoned me. I had to deal with her. Yeah, she's older. I had to deal with her spiritually. I had to console her. And that's me. You see, I've got big shoulders that don't fit into the camera. I'm always there to help people, and people can reach out to me. If you're here in the States and you feel that you need a spiritual person to talk to, you're welcome. Phone me. I can always help out there. I can't help too much. This is our way of helping, giving back, just giving information, truthfully, transparent, to tell people exactly how things work. Because you have to make an informed decision when in South Africa. This is a life-changing decision. When you come over here and you've been told lies, and you don't see or you don't get what you were told, obviously that's going to contribute to your negativity. And when you are here, you don't need negativity. You need to make yourself positive, because you need to start a life over here. You need to start over. You're a baby over here. So that's quite important. And from our side, that's what we want to do. We want to keep it positive. We don't want to talk anything negative, because we cannot talk anything negative. There's nothing over here that we can basically point out that's negative in our situation.
Looks like a car.
Yeah, we'll get it.
Yeah, no, it's a lot nicer to have the ability to get around. It's tough, and that's one of the tough things about being in the military, especially when I did diplomatic assignments. I'd arrive somewhere and I wouldn't have a car for some time, and being dependent. In embassies, they're very strict. You have to pay for the use of the vehicle, so you have to pay the mileage to the embassy for every trip that you get. It's not free, and then so you got to keep count of that, or you get in trouble, and you're only allowed to do it for a certain period of time. And if you don't have if your car hasn't arrived, too bad. And typically a car to Africa can take like 4 to 6 months to get there. So when I went to Africa, I would ship my car well in advance, so I wouldn't have to wait too long. But like when I was in Botswana, I still had to wait about 6 weeks before the darn thing showed up. And it's so I can appreciate that. I've definitely been in that situation. In fact, when I went to Germany when I went to Tunisia in 2000, what I did is I shipped my car from the port out of pocket, and I shipped it over to Germany, and then went on holiday in Germany. Picked up the car at the port myself, and then drove it to France and took the ferry across. So the day I arrived in Tunisia, I had a car, which was great. People in Tunisia are like, how'd you do that? The embassy, like, I never thought of that. I'm like, well, I plan ahead. We plan ahead. But you guys talk about some things that I really want to address here. You know, I've come in for a lot of criticism from a lot of people whose feelings get hurt because I try to tell them to be realistic about their expectations. It sounds like the two of you are very realistic about expectations, about what this is and what it isn't. You know, I use the term destination shopping, and people took offense to that. They shouldn't take offense to it because it's a common term. And it applies to fake asylum seekers primarily, people who are, you know, with asylum. Same with refugee, you're granted that status in the first safe haven that you reach. So if you're from Syria and you go to Turkey, done and dusted, no further. But no, you can't pick up and go to Greece and go through Serbia to go to Austria to go to Germany because that's where you want to be. But that's what millions of people do, and people distort this, particularly people on the left. And even some South Africans, their feelings are hurt because I said, look, if you happen to find yourself in Ireland, or you're in Germany, or you're in Spain, or you're in Italy, and you're living there already, you cannot come to America under this program. You're not a refugee. This is for people in South Africa who are suffering. But I suffered. Well, I'm sorry that you suffered. You're not suffering now. It's just too bad.
Yeah.
If you want to get in the program, carry your bum backside. A lot of people took offense at that. You know what? I really don't care. Because if you want to delude yourself into thinking the thing's going to work the way you want just because you want, then that's. I mean, but honestly, guys, I've taken a lot of criticism over this. You probably saw it in a lot of the chat over the past year.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, definitely. And I just want to shout out to those people over there that did that. You know what? Just come over yourself. Just grow up. Just grow up, because there's a reality that you need to face.
But adding on to that, when we went for the interviews, it like literally made me sick, because some people were like, no, we'll go over, and if it doesn't work out, we'll just come back, or we'll see if we get like through the process, and then we'll decide if we're gonna go. And you know, when they get here and like, you know, nothing's good enough.
Yeah, if your mindset is like that, just rather stay. Don't apply, because there's people that actually really needs to get out of South Africa. So, and then another thing just to touch on is on the vaccines. Guys back in Africa, in South Africa, please, you're not being injected with all these weird things, and I don't want to say all the names because I know you can get caught up in YouTube's. I don't even want to say that word, but yeah, you do not get vaccinated with all funny things. You get normal things. It's updated things. You're going to get it over here as well. When you want to fight it, let me tell you, you're making life difficult for yourself. Let me tell you, we found out now this week that your vaccinations on this side, it's a build up and lead in the process towards your LPR. So you need these vaccinations, and you need a certificate that says that you've been vaccinated, you have updated vaccinations, and therefore you can apply for your LPR. That can happen as soon as 6 months. When that vaccinations are done and you're up to date, you can actually apply, because the application starts from the vaccination certificate. So you need it. If you're going to fight it, you're going to make life very difficult for yourself. I'm just being truthful and honest. If you want to fight me on it, give out my number. I'm a big boy, I can look after myself. But stop fighting it. You're not being it's nothing that you haven't got before in your life, to put it blunt.
And the kids can't go to school at all
if you don't have
that. With me, it was just like, okay, so you somehow get it right to say, okay, I don't want them. I have a letter from my dominee and whatever. Like, we big Christians, I can't find in the Bible where it says no vaccines. But anyway, so okay, you get over here. You are not getting a green card with those vaccines. So it's fine if they allow you in South Africa, you come over. It's different here. You can't not get your vaccine. Sorry. Your kids won't go to school. You will not get a green card. And that was literally told to us, and it makes sense. It makes sense.
Well, I mean, we have a responsibility. Also, I don't know who's having trouble with their microphone. There's nothing wrong with my microphone. I've checked the sound a couple of times. There's something wrong with your connection. I've turned their volume down to 50%. So if you can't hear them, please let me know if you can't hear them when they speak. But we have a responsibility as a nation and our government to prevent our population from being put at risk. That's why we do background checks to make sure they're not pedos and rapists and murderers and war criminals. And we also, that's why people with active TB cannot fly here, because you can spread that stuff. Kind kind of like I'm doing right now, sitting in my studio here, hacking away. We can't have somebody at TB hacking away on a flight and getting people tuberculosis, exposing them. And the same thing with measles, mumps, rubella. Now, yes, I know that millions of people poured across the border and they brought their pestilence with them under Biden, but that was a violation of the law. And now we're adhering to the rule of law. So that should, you are much louder now, and they're not muted. You guys are moaning about stuff. I'm going to put them back up. See, there's nothing wrong with the sound. People have screwed up in phones and connections, always moaning about the sound. All right, so I've put you guys back up now, back to 86%. Their volume dropped a bit because people were moaning about me not being loud. My microphone is up 85%. It's 100% on the software. There's nothing wrong with my microphone. This is really distracting. If you can't hear it, then just come back when the program's over, okay? Sorry. Okay. All right. Yeah, anyway, sorry about that. Yes. So, anyway, yeah, no, it's... people really need to get an appreciation for what's going on here. The U.S. government has a responsibility to protect its citizens, and that's what they're doing. Exactly. And if you don't like it, then don't come. No one's twisting your arm to come here. No one begged. I'm sorry, Jurgens, Simone, did anybody in the entire process ever beg you to come to America?
No.
Did I beg you to come to America?
No, definitely not.
Did I even encourage you to come to America?
No.
So there you go. So
you help a lot.
Oh,
like in the morning, I used to put on my makeup for work, and I would always have your video next to me, and I would listen and all of that.
Let me just answer that one truthfully. Is that there's no direct encouragement from your side. What encourages people and what should encourage people is by what you are reporting exactly what's happening in South Africa.
Yeah.
That's what should be your encouragement.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's what my charge is. My charge is to bring the truth, the unvarnished truth, and people don't like it. Look, like today when I do the news, I'm going to report that unemployment's up. U.S. unemployment went up, 92,000 fewer jobs, and a 4.4% unemployment rate. Not great news, but it's also wintertime, and that's a time when you tend to have fewer jobs because a lot of jobs are summer creation jobs. So it's not the end of the world, but I will report that. It's less than perfect news. I don't cover the truth. And but very different than the New York Times. I don't know if I'm sure you probably watched the videos that I released yesterday about the New York Times. Wow. I mean, talk about selective hearing, selective decisions. The interview with Ramaphosa was pretty entertaining. All right, so let's talk about food. There's no Cook Sisters here. There's no Druvors. There are. You can find them, but it's not easy to do. There's also, it's not the same cuisine. Are you having an adjustment period with that, Simone?
Yeah.
Well, you can answer, Jurgens.
No, look, once again, we botched our mindsets so that we do not miss these things. We from the onset when we came here. We were back in South Africa, and I said to her, okay, listen, we need to work on our mindset that when we arrive over here, that we don't get caught up in keeping to our heritage, keeping that. I'm sitting and crying in a corner about there's no Afrikaners around me, and there's no Cook Sisters, and no Boerewors, and no biltong. No, we came here with the sole purpose. We came here to assimilate, become Americans, and contribute to the American society.
We're American.
And that mindset, to me, it's working for me. I promise you, it's working for me. And I mean, we were back in South Africa when we got our approval, and we stopped smoking. You understand? It's a mindset. It's a control. And I mean, I've been smoking, 20 years? And we left it, cold turkey. So there's an adjustment that you need. Yes, we vape over here, but we are also in the process of now leaving. We just want to get off it. There's no need for it. Change your mindset. Get your mindset ready. If you don't do that, it's going to be difficult. I can imagine for a lot of people.
We do have a barbecue here, but we haven't had a braai, so we don't know the meat yet, what that's going to be like. We have I don't know, you had Chanel and Charmaine. At one stage, Chanel actually lives down the
hall from us.
Yeah. So, we have, there's a few people here, South Africans and that, and I don't think you're going to the skaapbraai, the barbecue. It's a big South African thing. It's not a refugee thing. It's all the South Africans, they travel all over Florida to get to the skaapbraai. And we were hoping you could be there, but...
When is this?
It's on the 13th, now in March, in St. Augustine.
Yeah.
I have not been invited.
We'll sort that out.
Sort it out.
Well,
Yeah.
I was planning on coming to Florida. I'm trying to figure out when I can do it because the 23rd to the 26th, I have to do consulting for the War College. The 27th, I fly to Las Vegas. So next week, the 13th, 14th, 15th, I can come to Florida. I've been trying to work this out. I also found out that I can fly with an airline at Lancaster instead of Harrisburg, and instead of paying $800 to fly to Florida, I can go down there for about $200. So yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be awesome.
Yeah, that'll be awesome to have you.
Yeah. Because we thought, okay, you might come or whatever.
I don't know about it, so I can't come. That's the first I heard about this.
We'll ask the ladies in charge to get in contact with you because they also watch your program.
All right,
so they know who you are. Yeah, I'll bring you some Starbucks coffee, like the little bottles.
Yeah.
I don't have money for that yet, but I'll get there.
Well, I mean, I tell you, it'd be nice if people tell me about these events. Someone invited me to an event in Oklahoma, which is that weekend, but I can't. That's going to cost me $1,500 for a flight. It's more than I pay to go to South Africa. Yeah, and it's like a day and a half drive, and with my hip, I can't drive for a day and a half anymore. I used to be able to do that, but I mean, this is an easy enough thing because flights at Lancaster and at Harrisburg go to Florida every day because these people like to escape the snow, so they go down to Florida all the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's happy to do that. No, it's that sounds like a plan. No, I appreciate it. People tell me about these events because I mean I'm going bankrupt visiting refugees, so drive me a little further into poverty. I don't mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't help.
No, we'll set you up. One of the ladies that's she's not organizing this year, but she normally does. But she's a huge fan of yours. Who's also been watching you. So I'll just tell her to.
Sounds like a plan. Yeah. So I'm asking you to show us the place you're in, but I mean your FEMA tent looks like it's well constructed, nicely painted.
Very.
Okay, so
we floors and.
Yeah, no. So we are on the ground floor. There's 4 floors. We're on the ground floor, 2-bedroom place, 2 full bathrooms.
Yeah,
it's a new place. It just turned a year. I think it was in. Oh no, it's only turning a year next month. Whenever. It's brand new built. We have brand new appliances. We have a dishwasher brand new. We have a washer dryer brand new. So yeah, we were lucky to be placed in here, but it's also low cost housing. We're in a good area. We're in the San Marco area, so it's not too bad. It's good. It's safe.
Yes, Jacksonville. So it's. I mean, Jacksonville's big. So,
it's big.
But I mean, we're super blessed. I know. I mean, most people don't get places like this, but we are so blessed, so thankful. I think maybe we should touch the budget thing again because our agent is so transparent. So everything, nothing's for free. Your couches aren't free. Your food, it's not free. It comes out of your government budget. So, it's nice to think everything's free, but it really isn't. It comes out of your budget. Still very blessed to get all these things. I mean, we got secondhand furniture. And we're happy with it.
Be happy with it.
It's basically new, but it came out of your budget. So thankful because it is a lot cheaper. So I don't have any problem with that. So we spoiled ourselves, got a secondhand TV from someone that moved out. So we're happy with that. So we sorted now.
No, I get where you're coming from. It's a very sound approach. I mean, when I first started in life, I rented apartments that were furnished because you could do that. Typically rented a furnished apartment. So I didn't buy furniture until a decade after I went into workforce. And then when I bought it, the only reason I bought it is the quarters that I was living in Germany from the Army. The Army announced a drawdown. They were going to reduce the troop strength in Europe. And they had all this furniture because you're not allowed to ship your furniture over because of the weight allowance. But rather than leave it all there, they decided to sell it to the service members, and you could take it back in your weight allowance, even though you got a pretty anyway. And as an officer, I had a pretty decent weight allowance. Anyway, I think it was like 16,000 pounds as a captain at the time. Anyway, I bought a couch, and I bought the chairs and everything for like $5 for each item. and it was all brand new. They had taken it out of the warehouse, had never been used when it was put in my apartment. So, that's the only reason I bought furniture. And then I've only ever bought furniture once in my life beyond that. I mean, major furniture like a sofa and such, and a love seat, and that's in an ottoman. So, yeah, you just have to be prudent with what you're doing and be realistic in your expectations. And I think that you guys have approaches from a very sound standpoint. What about the kids? I mean, have you gotten out? Have they seen anything? Are they excited? I mean, Declan's kind of small, so I mean, I'm sure he's probably excited just seeing daylight,
Yeah, he loves it. Yeah. We did go to the beach, the Jacksonville Beach. It cost a bit because we took an Uber, and it's about 20 minutes from here. I'm still getting used to miles. I don't know, but that was awesome. So to Floridians, it was ridiculous. So Nicklin was obviously in the water, and to them it's ridiculous because it's cold. But it wasn't. It was like Cape Town, So it was fine, but to them it was like, how can you put your child in the water? And he loved it. He was there everywhere. Okay, we're in the shark capital of the world, so that's a bit scary. We'll still find out where you can go swim in that, but that was awesome. That was really awesome. And we've explored a bit.
Yeah. It gets to the expensive part because the public transport isn't great. So it costs you a little bit of, pennies to get around. So we are trying to be conservative with that, but also because there's another reason. Your refugee agency only takes you to your appointments the first time. The second time, you need to do it on your own. And a lot of times these things are far. Not a lot of times they are. All of them are far apart. So you have to get there, and it's different appointments. Like now the medical's changed. The children are on different dates than what we are. Yeah. So now it becomes double traveling. So just keep in mind, work on your budget. That's another thing. When you come here and you bring money, do not go and buy. There's a lot of nice things in the US. And it's cheap. Relatively cheap. And you're gonna have to want to get all these things because
because it's new.
Just don't do it. Just don't do it. Just deter yourself. Save your money. Work absolutely tight on your budget.
Yeah, because we okay, this is your budget for this, like my kit and extra money in that, but you don't budget for Uber, and that takes a very big chunk out of your budget, unfortunately. So we walk to Walmart and Aldi and Dollar Tree. We walk there. That's okay. It's a bit far, but that's okay. Like Chanel says, we take our Jesus wheels, so that's fine. But
look, the thing is that you have to make it work with what you've got. That's it. Have the right mindset, and then just grind on. And now we have our socials. So now we have a clear-cut picture of where we are going. And now we can actually start. But once you have that, you can do. And this is another thing that I want to touch on. There's a lot of ways that people do these things. And don't do that. Rather just trust your agency, trust the process, wait if you need to wait. Do not go and try and organize things yourself. There's a lot of people that is going to try either to scam you or they are going to help you. But you have to remember, in the future, when you go for your LPR, you're going to be interviewed again. When you're going to go for your citizenship, you will be interviewed again. And these things will be picked up. Once you are here, once you land, once CBP signs your travel document, it's an entry visa in South Africa, into the US, you are in the system. Everything you do will be noted on a system. Don't do anything stupid. You're not in South Africa anymore. You're in a first world country that records everything that you do. Don't be stupid. Don't even jaywalk. Because you can get fined for it. Don't do that. Just abide by the law. Do the things right. Trust the process. That's all you need to do.
We did that once though. I nearly died. I'm like, I'm never doing that again. I felt so guilty because it felt like I ran over the highway in like on the way to Joburg. I felt, it felt horrible. But because here also they call it a highway and a freeway and all of that. So a highway is like a main road over here. But no, I felt like one of these ladies that run across the highway with the little checkers bags going to the taxis and things. I felt like that. I'm like, this is how you get killed and or arrested. So I was like, first and last time, thank you very much.
Yeah, and the police don't play
in
Jacksonville.
They do not play.
Well, to help out with the terms freeway and highway, they come from the standpoint that there was a time when some roads were built by private corporations that owned them initially. And so they weren't free. They were turnpikes. You had to pay to go through them. And so the freeway was a highway that didn't cost anything. Highway covers all of it, but freeway. Now in Pennsylvania, we have this ridiculous turnpike that cost me $51 to go visit the Oosthuizens last weekend, one way. So $102 to make a trip over there just to pay to use the highway. When I'm living in a state where I'm already paying the second highest gasoline tax per gallon in the entire country. Hardly seems fair, but no. So that's the etymology of the freeway and highway sort of thing, and turnpikes, just the nature of it. But I'm not aware if you have to pay anywhere in Florida. I'm trying to remember. I don't think there is anywhere you have to pay. It could be, but Illinois has toll roads, New York has toll roads, New Jersey has toll roads, Pennsylvania has toll roads. It's very annoying to pay a toll when you're paying for the gasoline. You're paying a tax. It's supposed to take care of the maintenance of the highways, and then you have to pay for it again. And it's especially annoying here in Pennsylvania, where they've tripled the price of the tolls. While removing all the toll workers, because during COVID they couldn't work, so they put up all these cameras, and now they bill you by they send you a bill in the mail, and they charge you twice as much as that if you don't have the electronic thing. So I see you guys have got 3 flags up, 2 on the temperature control back there, and 1 hanging off the wall.
Yeah, and we have like these little bead things we got from Dollar Tree, and more flags like all over the house. We want to be Americans.
Well,
it's South African.
It's interesting you mentioned Dollar Tree, because I saw the Oosthuizens last weekend along with Bruce the Service Dog. You probably saw that. They like you are very familiar with Walmart and Aldi. They've already figured that out, but they didn't know about Dollar Tree, so I introduced them to Dollar Tree last week.
Yeah, I'm obsessed. I love it. I'm very frugal. Not like I have loads to spend now, but I am very frugal. Goodwill, love it. So yeah, Goodwill will be seeing me again and again and again. And you get the Goodwill outlet, if you're...
The bins.
The bins, they call it the bins, but it's an outlet if you put it on the maps. You go there, I don't know if you know that one. So you go there, but you really have to dig. But I got some really nice brand stuff. I got Abercrombie & Fitch, and I got some Zara things, and I like name brands. Oh, and the Adidas little short. Some of these things still have tags on them.
They've never been worn.
They've never been worn. But then you put everything in a cart and you go and they weigh it. So then you pay per pound. So if you take it, I paid less than $1 for each item. If you work it out like that, you just need patience. That's the only thing. But I mean, at time, he was standing there with the kids like, really?
You can go there without me.
Yeah. But it's in the north.
So, Simone, what you're saying is that if you load up on Victoria's Secret lingerie, it costs almost nothing at the Goodwill.
Yeah, they have resellers that buy that. So, yeah, I think I'm a bit fat now. But
Well, that's... no, you point out something else. I tried to tell people that. I said, look, pride cometh before the fall. You're starting at the bottom unless you're independently wealthy when you arrive here. Be realistic like you guys are. There are food pantries. There's Goodwill. There's no shame in that. Look, in the county that I live in, there's about 600,000 people, and there's a charity here that feeds 30 to 45,000 people per month. Wow. A local charity. They're fantastic. They do a fantastic job. They're all over the county, and they're actually in the neighboring county as well. They feed all these people who haven't made it for whatever reason. And unemployment is low here. People just make bad decisions in life sometimes, and they put themselves in a rut, and some people get married multiple times, and then they wind up with responsibilities, kids here, kids there, debt here, debt there. Yeah. And so it's difficult to get ahead. And so they wind up in that trap. But there are people here to help, and that's as long as you don't have pride, you're willing to go out there. I will be honest with you guys up front. What else am I but honest? My favorite South African phrase, if I'm honest. What else would you be? But if I'm honest, the thing is that, I'm one of those people that doesn't like charity either. It doesn't like, people, giving things. But and to me, that mostly is like less to charity. I appreciate people's good intent because I'm one of those people to help people. But I don't like handouts like from the state. So, for instance, when I got out of the Army, I went back to university, and by law, I was entitled to the minimum amount of full unemployment compensation from the state of Ohio, because that's what the federal law says. You have to give military the unemployment rate when they return because they're unemployed. And so I went back and I went to the unemployment office, and this just didn't like that. I get a bad vibe from the place. Filled out the paperwork, and I never went back. And I got a job 2 days after I got out of the Army. So
well done.
Yeah. I wasn't. I could still go back because it wasn't a full-time job and get the unemployment. But I just went. I don't want the money. I didn't earn the money. I don't want it. So, but I was fortunate. I had saved a little bit of money in my couple years in the Army, so I wasn't exactly starving. So I was off to a good start. But no, but there's no reason to not accept things, and and there's some great stuff out there. Some people look at goodwill and they don't really understand it. But as you identified, goodwill oftentimes has many things that have never been worn, never been used, appliances never been touched. Yeah. Unfortunately, America's become a consumption culture. I think some South Africans are the same way, but a consumption culture. And so people buy things all the time they don't need. And, a lot of times people go through their closet and like, I don't need this, I don't need that. Never wore it and still has the tags on it. And they donate it to Goodwill or other charities like that. And it's a great way for people to get what they need, not what they necessarily desire. Sometimes you get what you desire, but you get what you need. And that's important. So what are you guys looking forward to the most? I mean, you're talking about, okay, your daughter's going to go to school next week, so that's pretty cool. Is that going to be a little traumatic for you, Simone? Is it going to be okay with her going off to school?
No, I mean, I'm it being a bust and all of that, she should be fine. We are a bit scared, like, obviously we're, but yeah, I think she's going to be fine. I definitely, listen, this child, she has had an American accent from, for the last 5 years. So because of YouTube. So yeah, she's going to be fine. She's going to need a few days, obviously, or weeks or whatever, but she'll be fine. And Nicklin also, he'll luckily he's still small, so
I think you misunderstand me. I'm not worried about the kids. Look, kids can adapt. I went to over 30 elementary and junior high schools. Kids adapt. I said about you, Simone, your daughter's going to school. Are you going to be okay?
I know. I think so. I think so.
Okay.
I'll take a chill pill that day. It'll be fine at the end of the day. It'll be fine.
No, I mean, it's also kind of weird because our academic year is very different. It doesn't run January, December. It runs September to June, which is a little bit different. Yeah. Of course, that's all based on the fact that this was an agrarian society for a couple of centuries, and that's our growing season in the Northern Hemisphere. Yeah. And so in the summertime, you need the kids to be labor, so they wouldn't be in school, so they can help out on the farm. Anyway, so, Florida has a few farms, but mostly it's stuff like apple orchard, or not apple, but orange groves and stuff like that. Yeah. There, have you noticed that, Jurgens?
Yeah, we haven't traveled that far in country yet, but yeah, I know. Just through research, there's
a lot of research. Yeah,
I'm a research bee. I love doing research.
Yeah.
Whenever I'm bored, I will sit down and I will do some research. I love reading. So we saw all these things, but like I say, I don't like to build castles. I'm a realist. I keep things the reality.
Well,
but I mean, we'll get there. We'll travel and see everything.
Yeah.
So.
No, it's very well grounded. I think that if people come with the same viewpoint and the same attitude, it's going to be fine. What was the flight like? I'm going to say this had to be the first time for Declan.
Yeah. No,
but that was another thing because we didn't get to sit together.
There's a lot of that going on now. It has nothing to do with refugees, but the airlines are screwing travelers over, taking their children and putting them in different parts of the plane.
Yeah.
This needs to stop. There's an effort now in Congress to get these airlines to prevent them from doing that. So
yeah. In their defense, we flew when all the storms hit. We were one of the flights that was not cancelled.
We were very lucky again.
So, we had to. There were people that they luckily had to stay behind, so they did a load reduction on the plane. Yeah. That was quite sad to find that out. Thank God we weren't one of them.
Yeah.
But it was a scary flight. Turbulence was. We had a lot. I mean, I flew a bunch in my life, but this one was wild.
Yeah,
but it was wild.
The kids were so well behaved.
Yeah, Declan was awake for the first hour, and he didn't wake up until we landed in New York.
And thank God for tablets and things. And he even watched a bit of the those films on the little screen thingy. And obviously, you can show them with the airplane how far you are and stuff like that. So I'm just like, BS him and just be like, look, we're almost there. Like, don't stress. And when we landed in Newark, he was like, he started like, he wanted to land. And I'm like, what's going on? And he's like, no, the snow's going to melt. I want to see the snow. It's going to melt. I'm like, believe me, it will not melt. So unfortunately, they only saw dirty snow because it was just outside, but they saw it. They liked it. Yeah. But I wanted to be somewhere where it's, you know, it snows in winter, but actually I think I wouldn't survive it. I don't think I'll survive it. So it's fine. I will become a Floridian. That's fine. So thank you.
No, I think you'll be fine. Millions of people, billions of people survive just fine in the cold. Look at the Russians. It's it just takes. I prefer the cold because you can always put something else on, but you can only take so much off in the heat.
Yeah, we're scared. We are so scared because I mean they say it's like really hot, really humid, all of that. So I don't know.
It's Durban just twice.
It is exactly right. You've hit the nail on the head. Florida is Durban. That's one reason why I don't like it.
Yeah, a lot of people don't like it. So, I mean, we'll see if we can survive. That's the thing. I'm worried about my mother-in-law because it's like a Van Vuuren thing. They get hot very easily. So that's stressing me out. And Jurgens as well, he might work outside. So it's going to be hectic. But we'll see. We'll get there. We'll
still beats Julius Maleva word vomiting every day on my television back in South Africa. So I'll take it all day long.
Oh, no. I mean, oh my gosh. No.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that, guys. That's not something we've talked about. Most of the people come on and do their interviews for the refugees. When I ask them about their first impressions, almost to a man and woman, it's always, I can sleep at night. I was comfortable at first. It took me a few days to adjust, but it's safe here. Do you have that sense, the same sort of sense that a lot of refugees have?
Yeah. You immediately got that. But I have to say that you still have that instinct, that South African, that protective instinct. That's still there. I still have it. I'm still not over that. And I don't think you will get over it. And I also don't think it's a good thing to try and lose it. Keep it. If you have it, keep it. And like we were on the beach, we had a guy come up to us, ask us a cell phone, and obviously the first thing I would do is my daughter is sitting and playing on her phone, and I say, no, sorry, we don't have a phone. That you're asking the wrong people.
Yeah, no.
To use your phone. You understand? And they would sit, and I immediately went into protection mode. I would stand, I would pace down, up and down, I would look up and down, I would try to protect my family. So yeah. It's still there. I don't think you will lose it. We were in situations where we had to lock up. We had to have dogs in the house because you're scared for the dog's life. So yeah, it's safer. It's different. It's that to me is the biggest culture shock. It's not seeing fences everywhere and not seeing
beautiful.
That mostly to me is what it paints a picture, and it's a different picture.
No razor wire, no Rhodesian Ridgebacks, no shotguns. Obviously, you haven't been to my house.
Lots of pit bulls. Lots of pit bulls. Every second person around here has a pit bull on the leash.
Getting one of them. But yeah, when you have a house like you do, need a dog. Not a pit bull though, and we might, because geez, people here, they all have guns. They're like, woo, the Republicans too, like diehard Republicans, and you will have a gun and you will shoot someone. If they open their door, you will shoot them, and they're rough. But all the Uber drivers and stuff, they're rough, but I love it. Because I'm like, I don't tell me about Democrats and liberals. I will flip. I will be a Republican and I will vote Republican. So, yes.
I think what I'm going to remember about this interview the most is everybody's got guns.
Yeah. To add on to that, so I helped the agency a little bit because there's not a lot of men around here. So it's a lot of women. So I told my agency, the lady that our agent, I said to her, listen, if there's any donations, if there's any furniture that you need loaded and uploaded or anything, come and pick me up. I'm always willing to help. So we drive out. There's a donation that's been given in Point Verde Beach. So I drove out there with her. We arrived at the house and she's like, okay, are you going to get out? Are you going to? I'm like, lady, You in the US, I'm new here. You don't just rock up to someone's door, knock and say, I'm here to take your stuff. You're going to get shot at. That was quite funny.
Yeah, that's funny. So yeah, so he helps with that, and like everyone in Jacksonville, shout out. I am willing to cut your hair for free if you go for interviews and anything like that. I just need transport because our place is a bit small. Otherwise, we're gonna sit on the stoop. It's fine. You can come cut your hair here, but yeah, I'm willing to do that kind of stuff for free, just like
to help out.
Yeah, to help out.
Well, it's also helpful too. I mean, those are perishable skills. You've got to practice, don't you?
Yeah, yeah. It's not like, I don't know. I was born with it, so I don't really forget it. And like I said, I'm just that good. It's fine. It's in my blood. It's fine.
I don't recall you saying that, but now I've heard you say it. I'm just that good. That's funny.
Yeah, no, I'm just that good. So, I'm not full of myself, I promise. I just have such a passion for my work. So,
That's awesome.
Really, anyone that needs a haircut for an interview or whatever, I am here.
Yeah. So, Willem Hatzenberg made a point of telling me and showing me when I arrived at his house for the first time in Twin Falls, showing me his American flag outside. And also, when I left there in the evening one night, I saw him taking it down because he knows the rule. You don't, unless it's illuminated, you don't leave an American flag hanging overnight. You have to take it down outside. So I see you've got a flag there. It was the first thing he bought. He went to Walmart. The very first thing he bought in America was the flag. I'm guessing it was probably one of the first things you bought as well.
Yeah. Same thing.
Same thing.
So we went into Walmart. The first thing I did was I went and I searched for it. Took a long time. Walmart's big.
Yeah.
But that's the first thing I put in our cart was the US flag.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, Walmart is quite huge. Some of them are massive. The one in Carlisle here where I taught the War College, that's one of the biggest ones around here. It's really big. The one in Camp Hill, which is located east, it's a lot smaller. The one in Camp Hill reminds me of a dirt mall. The one in Carlisle reminds me of just a shopping center all by itself. It's just so huge. They've got so much stuff in there.
Yeah.
I don't think we have the biggest one, but it's a super center, so it is quite big.
Yeah.
But I'm just checking all these sales on Amazon and at Walmart and that for Americana stuff like throw pillows and, with the flag on it. So all this American flag decor and stuff like that. I want to do like this whole house Americana. So, yeah.
The day we move over here, I'm going to need 10 U-Haul trucks.
Yeah. But it's just the core. It's when we work and I can afford it.
What about your neighbors? I mean, you've got Americans around you. How are they receiving you?
We have a lot of Americans around us, yes. Next door is a family that arrived, I think, 2 weeks ago. It's a mother and her 2 children. Then we have Chanel. There's a lot of South African people in this block. So yeah, no, the US people really receives us. You get your old people, you get your racist people on both sides. That's you're gonna get that anyway, and just don't engage in that. Don't engage people on politics and policies. Let them engage you first, feel it out, then you can have your conversation.
Yeah, but for the most part, they're nice. It's like weird to us. You walk on the street or you're in Walmart or whatever. Everyone greets you.
Yeah, I want to say this, but I know it's going to come out wrong, maybe, but I'm going to do it anyway. It is very weird to walk down the street and have black people specifically greet you so friendly.
Yeah,
we're not used to that, and here that is quite a shock, and it's nice. It feels gracious.
Yeah,
I'm glad you make that point because it belies the narrative and the fairy tale told about America by black elites and by the international press about America being a systemically racist society. Most black Americans, most white Americans get along perfectly fine, and they have no issues. Some of the friendliest people meet are black folks, of course, and white folks too. So I'm glad to hear that. But there's nothing wrong with what you said. It didn't come out wrong. It's understandable. I mean, I had a lady in Bloberg who went to the parking lot, and that's kind of an upscale location in Cape Town. It's not exactly a poor neighborhood. She walked out with her infant to go to the car coming out of, I think it was Pick and Pay or Checkers, and she's walking out, and a black guy comes in and says, "Give me your keys." She's like, "Huh?" During the daytime. "What do you mean?" "Oh, yeah, fuck off to America. Give me your keys." Yeah, okay. Who in their right mind thinks that's an appropriate way to talk to anyone, let alone a woman carrying an infant in a parking lot when she's trying to load her car? And that's become quite common in South Africa since this refugee program was announced. But it was even common for some people. But look, I mean, that's not to disparage Black South Africans. Most Black South Africans I've ever met. Look, I've been greeted by Black South Africans all the time. But I mean, I'm a kind of a different egg, you know. I'm accustomed to being engaging. I'm the kind of guy that, you know, grew up with people when you're driving on the country road. You lift your hand off the steering wheel and you wave to the people as you drive by, you know. So, as a result, I've had people look at me very strange, particularly in Germany. Germans don't do that sort of thing. So when I went to Germany, I would say hi to people all the time, like, you know. But no, it's good. It's good to see that that you see that and that you've shared that. There's nothing wrong with what you said. So I'm glad that you shared that, because it's nice to see that my point about race shouldn't be an issue, isn't an issue, and you're discovering that in Florida.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, what should we wrap up with here then? We'll wrap up here, and I'll get to the news after this. So I'll give you each a chance to final. It looks like Simone is ready to go. So she. By the way, I noticed you've got a tattoo here of a cross on that.
Yeah,
side.
I have a cross, and then my boy's name.
She's got more ink than an HP printer.
Yeah,
well, I guess it's a good thing you didn't have more kids. You run out of arm.
Well, let me tell you the story, right? So I had Liam on this side and I had Logan on this side. And then Nicklin came and then Logan said, okay, but I also want to be on this side. And I thought, okay, I'll cover up on this side and put Logan on this side as well. So there's a massive story behind everything. But I love my boys. Seriously.
Yeah. I just want to refute something quickly, that there's also the stigma around medicals and medical when you get here. I was actually in the ER last week in Saturday. They did a CT scan on me. I've got a herniated disc in my neck and on my back. I need to go and see my physical physician, PCP, for an MRI booking. So they look after you here. If anything happens to you, you'll be looked after. That's one of the first things when you get here. What gets sorted out is your Medicaid. You actually have your Medicaid before you have your employment authorization documents and your social security number. That's things that they are quite quick on.
Yeah.
And so everybody on that front as well, just relax. You will be taken care of.
Yeah.
You will be okay if you get hurt over here. You will be okay if something happens to you.
Yeah, and you've heard that before, obviously.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people come here and they don't even know something's wrong, or they don't know they're sick or whatever. So
Oh, there's a lot of that. I mean, another case of cancer just came to my attention. So many people with cancer. One with Lou Gehrig's disease. Refugees are getting better medical care than I get. I mean, it's amazing. I've talked about 30 or 40 refugees have used emergency rooms or gone in for care or had operations already. All kinds of things happening for them. It just goes to show you how broken things are in South Africa.
Yeah.
Yeah, true.
Completely broken. Seriously.
All right, so let's go and wrap up. Then, Simone, you have to go first. Any thoughts you want to share with everybody about your experience and advice? And then we'll turn to Jurgens.
Yeah, I just want to say, give a big shout out to the Afrikaans ladies that are over here. They help us so much. They're just awesome. They've been here for a while. Some of them are refugees themselves. And we have an American mom. She also works through Lutheran services. So yeah, she takes us everywhere, and she's just so nice. And she bought me boiled peanuts yesterday. I've never had them. So, it's an experience. So, she's great. It's she's like family. So, and all the Afrikaans people Afrikaner people, they take such good care of us. Seriously, you can ask them anything and it'll be here the next day or in a couple of hours. They just awesome. Seriously. And I just want to give them a shout out. There's too many names to mention, but yeah.
No, they do a great job. In fact, I didn't find out about them until Lily mentioned to me. Somebody mentioned earlier in the chat about Lily looking for hairdressers, but I don't know if she'll be able to find something where you're at. So that's a consideration. You're not going to want to leave and do an entry-level hairdressing job when you've already got a place there. So, but you might want to check with Lily. But yeah, no, it's thank you for sharing that. Appreciate it. So, Jurgens, your turn.
Guys, everything will be okay. It's a hard decision. Keep your head. Work on your mindset. When you get over here, connect with people, connect with groups, get out of your comfort zone. It's not easy. If you are a person if you are an introvert, before you leave is a good time to start to get out of your skin. Just start to get out a little bit. Get your mindset ready. When you're here, you need to engage with people. You need to get out there.
Sometimes force yourself.
Yeah, force yourself out of your comfort zone. It's a good thing. And the help is out there. Don't stress too much. And while you're in South Africa, please, please, please stop believing everything anyone says on these groups. It's toxic. I left those groups when I was still in South Africa. It's toxic. There's so many misinformation, disinformation, and nonsense spewed over there. It will kill you. The negativity will kill you. It will engulf you. And you don't need that when you land over here. You need a clean blank slate of positivity. And the only person that will be able to do that is you and your family. So for men, just stand up, look after your family, take that positivity and push through. That's it. You'll make it.
Yeah. And just touching on that, we're actually going to counseling as well. It's free. They're actually going to come pick us up, just to keep that positive mindset. That's also a free service.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with using it. Use it. Yeah. Use it to your advantage. It's there. Use it. There's nothing wrong with saying I'm seeing a shrink. It's okay. You need it.
Well, you guys have touched on something that I try to convey to people all the time, and that is that these groups are toxic. People spread misinformation, and you really can't trust it. And you don't have to listen to me. You go to the embassy website, and there's the conditions, there's the standards. Follow that, and just do what you're told when you're told, and things will happen in the time they're supposed to happen. I think that's key. But I like the sense of groundedness that you both bring to this. You don't have unrealistic expectations. For instance, I asked about starting a business. I like that response. No, not today. Maybe in 3 to 5 years. That's very realistic. But a lot of people, and you kind of touched about earlier when you go through the screening process, and frankly, I didn't address it earlier, but the people that go there, shame, I'll go. If it doesn't work, I'll come back. Then stay in South Africa. We don't need you.
Yeah, exactly.
This is not a vacation. This is not immigration. It's refugee status. So those people clearly aren't suffering and under pressure. They just want, they want a free ride to America. Get yourself a free ride to Australia. We're not interested.
I just need to mention it because my mom's gonna kill me if I don't. She makes memory bears. So she really wants to make you a memory bear.
Yeah.
She really wants to make you one and send it off to you.
So like your old uniforms or whatever.
Like Navy memory, and then she will build you a bear and send it to you.
Yeah.
I was asked to say that.
We'll send you a picture. Very cute.
Okay, because I'm very confused what exactly a memory bear is. Is that a teddy bear that's dressed up to look like me?
No, so it's made out of old clothing that means something to you from your military days, veteran days or whatever.
Gotcha.
Then she built it from scratch, complete bear built out of it.
Okay, I just was worried like it was going to be like a voodoo doll or something. So
no. Luckily not. No.
Well, she's from Africa, so it can go both ways.
Well, I tell you, if it's a voodoo doll, I could probably do acupuncture myself. I'd feel a lot better for my hip.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. My back is killing me.
All right,
my back is.
Okay, guys, thanks a lot for being here. After the parents arrive, Jurgens, maybe after they got settled, we do this again and see how your parents are adjusting and talk to everybody.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, for that.
Yeah.
All right. By that time, we'll be working. We'll be sorted out. So, yeah. No,
cool beans. All right, I wish you guys the very best, and thanks for coming on. And also, thanks for being long-term viewers, OGs who never chatted. See, there's more people out there watching than we realize. Thanks, guys. I'll let you drop off, and best of luck to you and off to your daughter Monday at school. She'll be fine. Kids adapt very quickly. It's you that I'm worried about, Simone.
We'll be fine. We know it's best for her. We'll be fine.
Yeah, she says that, but then at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock in the morning, she's like, where's?
I'm not going to want to WhatsApp someone like, is she okay? Did she eat? Whatever. So, yeah, it's going to be that type of week, but we'll get there.
All right.
We'll get there.
Cool beans. All right, you guys take care of yourselves. Thank you very much. Bye-bye, Donkey.
You too. Thank you, Colonel.
Cheers.
You're welcome. All right, guys, that's Jurgens and Simone. I'm going to put them in the weight room because I'm not sure if they got there on their own. Wow, that was quick. Well done. Okay, so wow, that happened very fast. They're not rookies. So thanks everybody for tuning in. Appreciate you being here and joining me. I apologize. I'm a little bit under the weather here. Actually, a lot under the weather. So it took a lot of energy to do this. We'll be doing the news broadcast just in a couple minutes. Give me a few seconds to reset. You'll be redirected to the news after this. And thanks to my guests, Jurgens and Simone in Jacksonville, Florida. That was a lovely conversation. I enjoyed it. I hope you did as well. Excuse me. Excuse me. So we'll be doing the news here in just a couple minutes, okay? So thank you, and please join us over here in a few minutes. And again, thanks to my guests. Always a pleasure. And I hope that this was helpful for those trying to understand what it's like to be a refugee coming to this side. Cheers.